Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday Night Fights, also known as What in the World's Going On in Real Estate, especially here in Las Vegas, because it is very confusing. But I know it's a holiday weekend, so I don't want to make this long. As a matter of fact, I probably would not have done this if the market wasn't changing so fast. We got to see what's going on for both the buyer and the seller. So I'm going to just go over the numbers as quickly as I can, showing my work, of course. And of course, every once in a while, I completely forget that I'm looking at my beautiful self. No, I'm not that beautiful. And instead of the numbers. So hopefully, somebody pipes up. It's like, hey, dummy, you're showing me you. So let's go ahead and show over here what's going on. So as we always do, we are going to go and search residential and figure out what's going on. So number one, today is the 4th, and numbers usually come out the 6th or 7th, but of course we got a holiday weekend, so I'm still expect them to come out Tuesday or Wednesday, but we can always run the numbers ourselves and do the same thing. So first off, let's go and see what's happened over the last week. So over the last 7 days, we have had 1,199 new listings, 1,887 price decreases, which is starting to become a norm where it's about 50% higher than the number of new homes that came on the new listings. 236 came back on market. And amazingly enough, in this market, 81 price increases. So we've had, let me see if I can do the math here, 845 go under contract, which is great. 727 have actually sold and expired. 224, believe it or not, that is really interesting because normally back in the good old days, this probably would have been 500-600, upwards of 1,000. So the expireds, even though they are increasing, they're not as bad as you would expect with the current market, but the market needs to catch up, and I expect we'll start seeing more houses not sell and go expired soon. 330 withdrawals, and we got 90 coming soon. So let's go ahead and see what we have on the market right now. If it takes me an extra second to do something, there's a reason. I am kind of injured myself. When you wake up where you have that crick in your neck that you just can't get rid of. Well, I got it like crazy. So we're going to break this down in Vegas, North Las Vegas, and Henderson right now. We have 9,925 available, which is on par with what I saw a few days ago. So it is not growing at this time. Let's get on back here and gee whiz. Okay. Let's break this down by type. So let's go ahead and see what we have for condos. 1,101 townhouses, 759 available, and single family. That's the one that's growing like crazy along with the others. So we now have 7,967. So almost 4 times as many as before we had the little change in the market. Now let's go ahead and see what has sold and what our numbers look like and compare them against the previous month. So let's go ahead and we'll just keep it on single family for now. We're going to look at the solds from last month of August. Okay, so 1,897 sold. Stats on them show median price is 450. Believe it or not, that is a small amount of good news. Small. And the reason it's a small amount of, come on here. The reason it's a small amount of good news is, as you notice, as we've been doing this over the weeks, it's been going down every week, about settling about the middle of the week. Well, we actually have not had any uh, like movement over the last 2 weeks, which means the prices seem to be bottoming out. So if I would probably give it another 2 weeks to figure out what's going on in the market. The biggest thing that you'll notice, I'll make this a little bigger for you, is now the median house sells for 9,000 under the list price, and the median, average is now 455, which is about we'll just call it 5,000 under the average list price. Let's compare that against last month's numbers. First of all, we look at the units sold. So we are actually down in units again. So we've been going down month over month. So fewer units sold while the inventory is growing. So look, the inventory has already grown another several hundred units sold down, and the median price that actually sold was 450 compared against 465. So that number is, of course, down again. We peaked at 482,000. So we're down 32,000 now. Fortunately, it's stabilized over the last month, but we're going to see what happens with that because interest rates have gone up again. So let's go ahead and compare condos and townhouses to what the board had, and then we'll just break them down ourselves. So 595 sold. And let's get in here. Okay, so it's showing a median price of 265, 2,000 less than list price, so doing a little bit better than that. And 271.8. So we are down another 6,800 for condo units closings. And as far as the medians go, yeah, we're down median there. And let's see, it was 271. We got interesting. So the median close price here for over last month was 382. Let me see, hold on here. Average price. Okay, never mind. So it's 281. Now we're at, yeah, it went up. So that's actually strange. The the median price went down while the average price went up. Interesting. Only thing I can think is, okay, we had a almost $2 million property, and that probably dragged the market quite a bit. So that's probably what happened there. This property here drove it up for the average. Because remember, the median is what's in the middle, and average is to take them all and divide them by the number of sold. So some high price properties like this will actually drive up the market slightly. Okay, let's see what else we got going on here. Let's go ahead and break this down by condos and townhomes. So just with the condos, 338 sold. And the median price was 235, average 254. Yes, that condo there drove things up. Let's see what we get for the townhomes. And that was incorrect. Okay. So 257 sold with a median price of 327 with an average price of 322. So the highest priced townhome that sold was 619, which actually sold for 20,000 under the list price. As far as list prices go, for both the average and median, we have a split there again, not as bad as single family houses. Okay, does anyone have any questions before I move on? Okay, so let's go ahead and just take a look at what's coming on market here. See if we can kind of look at that median. Okay. So let's see what a price of a house that should be selling at the median price is looking like now. So this is what you can get in the 450 range. This is just one example. And let's just choose another example. Go. And let's go down to that 265 for that condo and look for one of those. There we go. Condo at 265. Okay. There we go. So these are things that you could have at about that price range. Now let's see here. So it's an interesting market. Fortunately, it's starting to stabilize, and this is what I'm afraid of. If you look, interest rates, especially for those who are using conventional loans, are still above the 6% range, but they actually have gone down slightly from last month. I believe they were six. I'm sorry, last week. I believe they were 6.6% last week. They're 6.375 this week. So they've actually gone down a little bit. And if you're using a conventional or a VA loan, it's actually a little bit more sweet now. So that feels very good there when you look at that number. A VA loan at 5.625 may not seem attractive compared to 2.25, but that is better than what it was. So at least you get a little bit of a respite there. Like I said, making the night short. Anybody have any questions, any kind of things you want answered tonight? Okay. Uh, what I've been seeing in the market is this week we've had a lot more of the opposite of what we had 6 months ago. So now the buyers are getting really, really what the sellers were. They're getting greedy. They're going, how little can I offer? And because we have so much inventory coming on the market, they're willing to wait, which is, of course, making the situation worse. We are still technically in a seller's market, technically, but no one feels that way. So everyone got what they wanted, more inventory, and their reactions now is I'm either going to wait to see if more comes on the market, or I'm going to now see 10 houses and not make an offer. Or if they make an offer, it's lowballed. I've had some interesting feedback on some things. Like I had one, the last house of that floor plan sold for 542,000. We started at 532. In other words, to get more traction going. Well, nothing. So we lowered to 530, nothing. We lowered to 500, pretty much nothing. And what's interesting is feedback from one potential buyer who came through. The price is way too high. So I think we've gotten back to that market where buyers are no longer looking at what the previous houses sold for. It's kind of like I dealt with a family a few years back, and the husband tells me, I'm only going to offer on these houses what I feel they're worth. And I'm like, well, what about the market value? He's like, I don't care about the market value. I'm going to make offers based on how I feel. Well, I actually had a conversation this week that was very similar. This person's strategy that he wants to use is he wants to find out how much the seller paid for the house, how much they're listing the house now, and he wants to offer the amount that's in the middle. So if somebody purchased a house for 200,000 and they are selling it for 400,000, even though it doesn't matter when they bought it, could have bought it at the bottom of the market, he wants to offer 300,000. That's the current mindset of some of the buyers. I'm just letting you know, because I now have a listing that has had more offers than not offers, more showings than I have ever had on a house without getting an offer. I've had this many showings on a house, but when I've had this many showings on a house, I'd have 10 offers. See, huge difference. So the market is moving in very strange ways. And as more people put their houses on the market because of the fear of losing what they have, it's actually encouraging the buyers to wait, which is really funny. So I am glad that housing is stabilizing, but we're going to have to see, because people don't realize we are still 5 million houses from where we're supposed to be based on our current population. Home builders have underbuilt for decades. And right now, they're all pulling back. I have a question here. Let's see here. I'm kind of in that category. I'm looking to see what they pay for an offer somewhere in the middle. Yeah, people are starting to get into that mindset. Even before the situation we had now, I've had only seen that like one other time, and he didn't say, I want to pay halfway between. That individual went, I'm going to base my offer on what they paid because I'm only going to allow them to have so much profit. So, yeah, different strokes for different folks and what they want to offer. A lot of it is going to depend on where that person is or that family is in their life. Perfect example. I didn't. I had just had some sellers just in the last couple of days accept what I considered a very bad low ball offer. And the reason it's bad is we had the house listed for well below what the last house sold for. You know, the good old strategy where you're supposed to get more money because, you're not trying to play the last house sold for X. I'm going to, price it at X plus Y. Well, no, we were X minus Y with no results. Yeah, so we lowered it to the price that someone else lowered the same floor plan to. Now, we did get an offer. I don't know what the other person got an offer for because he never answers the phone as far as that agent goes. But in a way, I'm very not happy with the amount that they're getting. But the funniest thing is, from what they paid for the house and what they're getting, which I consider a lowball offer, they've owned the house for almost to the day 2 years. They're getting a 36% return. They're making over $100,000. So we live in a different era when someone is making over $100,000 and you're feeling sad. In reality, where they should be right now is about 70,000 under what they're getting if the market had continued at normal pacing. So good for them, bad for them. I wish they got that extra money, but it's the world we live in. None of the other houses that floor plan have been selling. As a matter of fact, the funniest thing, I was at an event Tuesday night, I believe, and I was talking to another agent, and we were going over some stuff, and I was talking about that house I was talking about before, where we were well under where the last house sold for, and the buyer said, potential buyer said that it was way overpriced. You know, you got a price way below the last house, but uh, she, no, it was a he. He goes, yeah, I got this friend who's got a house listed in this neighborhood. And he says like nobody is uh, going to see these houses, period, in the entire neighborhood. All the agents are talking. Then he starts describing the area. I'm like, pull up my, is it in this area? It was like, yeah. So yeah, little pockets are doing very bad, and there are pockets that are doing well. Uh, I have a listing in Summerlin, and it's getting, that's the one I said had more showings than I've ever seen without an offer being made. And I think it's just the buyers. They have so many choices. I've had so many potential offers where they said they're getting ready to write an offer. And then when you contact them back, they're like, no, my buyer found something else. In the good old days, they would have just wrote that offer. When I say good old days, I mean a few months ago, because they wouldn't have wanted to take a chance. I'm going out by, I mean, I can remember a buyer, I'm going to say remember, this is like this week. Uh, they're talking about looking at a house this weekend, and this was like Monday. In the good old days, it's like you can't wait until this weekend to see a house. Now it's like, yeah, it's going to be there. It's going to be there. Sure. Let me see here. One more question. I have a 225 VA. Good for you. Are we going to sell our house? Unfortunately, no. You could buy it down, and um, I don't know how much. I'd have to get with the lender. You can talk to someone if it's here in the Vegas area. Any place else, I'm sure I can find someone if you ask the question. I don't see a 2.25, no matter how much you try to buy it down. Oh, now here is something that could possibly happen, and I don't know, it's going to be rare because very few people know how to do it. If you were to find someone who is selling their house and they have a VA loan at 2.25%, a VA loan is assumable, which means you can assume that 2.25%, but you need to work with a lender who knows what they're doing on that. But it is possible. But as far as just getting a lender at 2.25, the best I've seen, and I'm still trying to figure out how they do it, it's kind of someone I'm not really working with directly, but mentoring an agent on. They could not pull off the payment that they were going to have to do. And then the agent on the other side, the listing agent, said, well, why don't you try my lender? They give these super low rates. And the rate that was quoted was like 4.6%, which was unbelievable. And let me answer Robert's question here real quick. I hope that answered your question. Let me see. Let me just finish reading, make sure. Yeah, you'll have to talk to a lender. I have to stay in my lane on that. A lender can tell you how much you can buy down. I mean, you may have had enough in your house which you could buy it down quite a bit, but you have to see if it's also worth it, and just run the numbers based on how long you're going to be in that house. So let's see what Robert has to do. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Uh, I'm sure back in, if you we're talking 89, I'm sure that's back when houses weren't even $100,000 in Vegas. I could try to find some historical data of what they were way back then, but 89, man, they must have been cheap as heck way back then. Uh, Vegas was, during the last crash, how things were. Uh, they almost got to as bad as they were, because I was stationed in Hawaii at the time, where like a new home bill, people would like camp out to get a house in the new home bill, and then start the first house out at like 500,000. And then when the 10th person came through, it was 510. And then by the end of the day, they had sold all the lots, and the houses were 600,000. It never got up to that. The worst I saw were ridiculous lot fees. Fortunately, those ridiculous lot fees are gone. That was the stupidest thing ever. But it's supply and demand. Everyone wanted those new houses, and they were willing to pay $50,000 in lot fees. But fortunately, those are gone, and I'm seeing home builders doing things I have never seen before. They are actually lowering their prices. Uh, Home builders would rather give you something than lower their prices, because they feel that it devalues their product. Right now, they are devaluing their product and giving you stuff and trying to get agents to bring stuff to you, because 6 months ago, the new home builders weren't even paying agents, some of them. And now it's like, we'll give you 6% to come in and bring your client. It's nuts. That's why I keep saying, if you're thinking about looking at a new home, I'm being serious. Look at what the market's doing wherever you are. Do not walk into a new home build, period. Go find a stunt agent if you have to. With the exception of one person ever, new home builds, I mean, for me, one person ever, new home builds they're nothing for an agent. They go in, they sign their name on the dotted line that they're your agent, and they're done. The most they will do is show up for your walkthrough, and maybe show up at the closing table to smile at you, give you a little closing gift, and collect their check, metaphorically. If it's legal in your state, um, all but I believe 13 states, you are allowed to get a kickback from the agent, especially on a new home build. Right now with resales, I probably wouldn't be looking for that, because you can already see that the uh, average commission is going up, and you're trying to do everything in the world to attract a buyer's agent to bring their buyer by. Doing the old 6 months ago, how little can you do it, isn't going to work anymore. But if a new home builder is giving 6%, can't you take a few of those percent for yourself? So get your house at a discount, get a bunch of upgrades, get all your closing costs paid, and get some money in your pocket. It's a no-brainer. Do not walk into a new home build without talking to a real estate agent first and letting them see what they're paying in co-op, and then just tell this person, I don't need you to walk into the door, because that's all they're going to do. It's so bad at times. I can remember one time, and it actually had to do with this one individual, where I said I had to do a lot of work for a new home build. Yeah, like daily meetings. Everybody except for myself bawled like a little girl. I mean, serious. I'd have like lenders and title people calling me up in tears, literally. And it's like, I have to compose myself. It was bad. It was bad. That individual, they were thinking about buying a house at a certain. I'll say it. It's not a big deal. It was KB Homes. Well, she contacted an agent, and the agent didn't even want to go out and like show her. I mean, at least go to the new home build with her. They did. All they did was call up KB Homes and said, I have a client named, Miss X, and they put her on the registry, because KB does that. Well, she was like, this agent wouldn't even come show me a house, do anything. And then when we went to KB, and I asked the question, it's like, oh, she's already registered with someone else. If your client buys this house, we're going to give that agent the commission. And then with KB, you have to register them one time. And even if you get another agent, and let's say an agent showed you one KB home and you went to another one, even with another agent, because let's say it's like 3 months down the line and you didn't get along with that agent still gets paid. That's the way KB operates. So it could be good in a way and bad in a way. So just letting you know. Okay, anybody got any questions about what's going on in the market? And I'll answer them as best I can, because I don't want to keep you. It's Labor Day weekend. I'm sure you guys have something important to do, like barbecue or something, which reminds me I need to figure out what I'm going to eat tomorrow. Okay, let me go ahead and give you guys my advice for sellers. You need to see what your neighbors are doing and underprice your neighbors. You need to make your house pretty. The only things that are selling now are the cheapest and the prettiest. You see the numbers. You got a lot of competition, even though technically it's a seller's market. It's just the buyers are not treating it that way. Buyers, you need to go out there and see. I'm playing both sides here. I'm just giving you the advice that there is. Look for the seller who has screwed up, the one who milked their price down. The house may have been worth 480, and because the last person sold theirs for 450 and got 480 for it, this person does the typical thing of, I want to get 500 to see if I can get 530. No, you walk in there and you look at those prices. You can probably get it according to how long they kept that price. Hate to say it, for that 450. Sit down with your agent, do that analysis before you go into a house and see what you can do to bargain. Sellers are paying closing costs now, no matter how reluctant they are. But for most, they're still walking away with hundreds of thousands of dollars. They just feel like they lost money. If you bought a house for 200,000 and you sold and you got it up for 500, you get 450 for it. Only thing you're thinking about is the 50,000 that you lost if you had sold it 6 months ago. You're not thinking about the 250 you actually made. It's kind of like, God, what is his name? He's an NLP specialist. He was talking about the fear of loss is greater than the pleasure of gain. If you were to tell somebody, hey, I just dropped by and I put 20 bucks in your mailbox and it's like late at night, you'll go, okay, thanks. I'll go get it in the morning. But if you were to say, hey, somebody is stealing mail right now, you'll rush out immediately to get your mail. Okay, let's see here. We got one more from Robert. We sold farm. Oh, man, when did he sell that? It's probably, yeah, you're right. Property is not as expensive up there as it is down here, but you can say this much: it is going up. Uh, let's go and look. Let's see what property is going for up in the Moapa Valley area. Let's see what's for sale. We got one over here, 460. Let's see what she looks like. Not bad. Not bad at all. And let's look at some of the others down here. Oh my goodness. I hope that's a farm. 3.5 million. See here. It says single residential with 5 acres. Huh. 20,000 square feet of living area. What we got here? Somehow I think are they including what the, see, that's the house. Uh-huh. Are they including this thing? Is that actually a house? That's a barn. That's not living space. Whatever. Okay, let's see what else we got out here. $175. Let's guess it's a trailer. Yep. Single wide. Oh, just in case you don't know, it used to be you could not finance a single wide. Some of the lenders are now financing single wides if you're looking for those. Big things, it has to be younger than 1976, I believe. So like this one, you could actually finance, interestingly enough. Let's try to find something else down here. 380,000. Okay. Okay, so I got a question here. Let's see here. Right now, the Vegas economy is still doing well, and we're going to find out at the end of this weekend how well it's still doing by our visitor count. They're expecting a record load of visitors this weekend. Unemployment is still low. People are not losing their jobs at this point. Even though the president wants to say we're not in a recession, we are in a recession, and a recession is dictated by economic terms, and that is 2 straight quarters of a contraction in GDP, which we've had. So we are in a recession unless we have an expansion of GDP for this quarter, which would bring us out of the recession. So even though, like, look at it, you don't hear much about unemployment. Here in Vegas, there is a severe shortage of labor. I have to do something on Tuesday. I sold a house. It's got a washer and dryer in it, and the buyers don't want it. They're going to bring in their own washer and dryer. They asked me to get rid of it. While simultaneously, that house that I had listed, I talked about it a little bit earlier. The buyers want the washer and dryer. So I'm just going to be like, oh, that's cool. They want to keep their washer and dryer. I'm going to bring that washer and dryer over here, swap it out in time for the inspection. It's actually, in my opinion, a nicer washer and dryer. It's the front load, and theirs is not the front load for the washer. But, hey, different people want different things. It's going to cost me, and I'm going to pay for it out of my own pocket. It's going to cost me $240 to get it done. So, yeah, $240 to satisfy both of those clients out of my pocket, even though I probably could have gone, like, because the seller, he was like, how much do I owe you? I was like, nah, it's on me, man. So it's the way it is. But yes, the Vegas economy for now is strong, and you'll be able to tell a lot about how it's going to do for the rest of the year by the numbers we get from this weekend. Okay, Karen, what we got here? Well, hello from Douglasville, Pennsylvania. There's a Douglasville, Georgia, too. That's actually where Six Flags Over Georgia is technically kind of located, in Douglas County. What does a manufacturer say? Not okay. If it says not real property, that means they have not converted the mobile home into real property. So what you have to do is it actually has to be permanently moored to the ground. And of course, you have to own the land itself. And then you can go to the county and you can have it converted. So they'll come out and inspect it and everything. And it gets converted into real property. If it is not converted to real property, a mobile home is actually personal property. It is the same as a vehicle. So if you buy like a mobile home in some of these mobile home parks where the park owns the land, you're buying it like a vehicle, and you would have to, if you could get a loan, it'll be a vehicle type loan. So it's not going to be a 30-year mortgage. Okay, you are welcome. Want to check to see if anybody else has any questions. Always like to get them answered. Don't want to keep you guys too long. It's Labor Day weekend. I know you're all off and everything. I'm going to give it about, let's see, give it a minute and a half. If no questions, I'm just going to talk for a minute and then I'll let you go. So, what should I talk about? Oh, yep. Thank you, Karen. I ain't gonna lie. Interest rates, in my opinion, are atrocious. If you're even, with the change in prices because of interest rates, you're still paying $700 a month more than if you had bought a house 6 months ago. For the sellers, they kind of need to realize that if a house is $700 more, people can afford less house, which means there are less buyers. And I would want to put this one out. Hold on right now. Let's go over to roll over here. I have not seen any issues yet because the problem we had a few months ago is everyone was paying over. Well, that set new prices. So it's like I've said in the past, if your neighbor sold their house for 30,000 over, let's go back to that fictitious $450,000 house. They listed it for 450 and they got 480 for it, which was very common 6 months ago. Your house went up by an instant 30,000. It's just that everyone is had the opposite greed of what the buyers have right now. They would list for 500 and want 30,000 more. That's kind of what drove all of this craziness. So as far as the possibility, I know you didn't ask, and I'm going to go into it. There's very little possibility of a crash right now because in 2008, it was a different situation. It had to do with the type of borrower. Well, most people have equity right now. On top of that, they have real loans. They don't have all these ninja loans and stuff. And like I said, even though we got a low ball offer on this house and they took it because they want to go do something else, it's like I told them, you're going to get to do this to somebody else because you're going to go into that next house and you're going to do what they did to you, low ball. So it kind of evens itself out in a way. As far as appraisals go, the way appraisals work is they're supposed to go on sold homes. Well, if a house sold for 480 that was worth 450, you already have an inflated amount that the appraisal is going to go by. As houses continue to sell for less and less, you're probably going to see appraisal issues possibly in the next few months if they continue that way, because those houses that sold for 30,000 over are going to drop off the map because they can only go back 6 months. So right now, I have not heard of any appraisal issues right now. There could be some in the future, but with the house prices stabilizing, if people aren't trying to offer ridiculous amounts, we should not. So we'll see. Let's see here. Oh man, living in Mexico, that must be nice. Yeah, about the only thing I'd say from the little I know about Mexico and Mexico real estate for expats is you can't own the land. You can lease the land, but they don't allow non-Mexicans to purchase the land there. So you can buy a house, but it's on leased land. But you know that. Just putting that out for everyone else. Okay. So since we had one, I'll give it another 2 minutes. Other than a thank you, anybody has any questions? Want to make sure anybody, if no matter how obscure, if I don't know the answer, I'll tell you I don't know the answer. Okay. Be honest, I'm out of talking. My neck hurts from when I was talking about waking up the other day. Thank you, Michael. I mean, yeah, roll over Mitchell. Thank you. Uh, yeah. So it got better, and then like 30 minutes prior to this live stream, it started feeling bad again. Okay, I appreciate you showing up tonight. And I had planned to do these less often, but the market's changing, so figured people needed the information. One of the things I've been wanting to do, I've already kind of lined up some people like I've talked about in the past, talking about things like doing Airbnb, because the rules have changed for Airbnb. Talk to rental agents so you'll know what you need to do if you're renting a house or you want to rent one out. So that's the kind of stuff I want to get back to, and the Q&A sessions with bankers and stuff. Okay. Well, we got about 30 seconds left. If nobody has any questions, don't be shy. I'm just going to go make myself a little bit fat with some Taco Bell before I start my nightly Spanish lesson. Okay. Looks like we don't have any more questions tonight. Hopefully I answered everyone's questions. If you leave some questions in the comment, hopefully my assistant will catch them. I've had an issue with my assistant not going in and going through all these questions and then like bringing them to my attention, because they don't always pop up in an email or something. And since I do 2 to 3 videos a week, it just happens. Most people who have questions just reach out. If you need to reach out, my information is in the info tab. Just text me. That'd be cool. Oh, wait a minute. Just got one. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yep. So that wasn't a question. So timer doesn't reset. And I do appreciate that, Robert. Okay. I am going to go ahead and get myself a fat pill from Taco Bell and do the same. I'm going to get good tomorrow. I don't have any plans for Labor Day. So enjoy. If you have any questions, my information to text me is there. Hey, thank you, BG. I appreciate you being here. I'm going to go ahead and knock it off and go get me some Taco Bell. Enjoy, guys. See you.